Long before refrigerators, ice boxes, or modern preservatives, humans faced a daily struggle: how to keep perishable foods safe for days, weeks, or even months. From ancient civilizations to medieval households, one remarkable solution emerged: a fungal dip that created a living protective layer on food, halting spoilage and extending shelf life dramatically. This wasn't a random mold or accidental fermentation. It was a carefully observed and repeatable practice, passed down through generations. For history enthusiasts, survivalists, and anyone interested in sustainable living, this ancient fungal technique is both fascinating and surprisingly practical today. Why ancient cultures discovered fungi could preserve food. Spoiled food was one of the greatest threats to survival before refrigeration. People noticed that some foods, when treated with certain fungi or left in fungal-rich environments, remained edible far longer than untreated items. These fungi produce natural antimicrobial compounds that slowed bacterial growth, effectively acting as a living shield against decay. Over time, these observations became a controlled practice, allowing families, traders, and armies to safely store meats, dairy, and vegetables. For modern survivalists, understanding this principle offers an alternative to energy-intensive refrigeration through controlled fungal and fermentation techniques. How the fungal dip worked to create a protective barrier. The secret was in the dip itself. Foods were briefly immersed in a solution or paste containing selected fungi, which adhered to the surface, forming a dense, breathable coating. This layer blocked harmful bacteria while still allowing air and moisture exchange, preventing spoilage without suffocating the food. Cheese, for example, was often dipped to encourage protective mold growth, preserving the curds while developing rich flavors. Meats and vegetables benefited similarly, particularly when combined with cool storage or breathable wrappings. Today, recreating this process requires using safe fungal cultures, maintaining clean surfaces, and controlling humidity to allow a protective layer to form. Why fermentation complemented the fungal dip? The fungal dip rarely worked alone. Beneficial fungi often interacted with naturally occurring bacteria and yeasts to create a controlled fermentation environment. These microbes produced acids, alcohols, and other compounds that further stabilized the food, enhanced flavor, and increased nutritional value. Modern parallels include aged cheeses, tempeh, sauerkraut, and miso, all relying on a balance between fungi and microbes. Understanding this synergy allows contemporary survivalists to extend the shelf life of foods safely while improving taste and digestibility. How ancient people applied the fungal dip in daily life. Historical records suggest that fungal dips were widely used across regions and cultures. Meat might be dipped before storage in wooden containers. Cloth-wrapped vegetables could be submerged briefly to form protective layers, and dairy products were routinely treated before aging. The technique was scalable, from household kitchens to supply for armies and markets. Modern practitioners can mimic these conditions using clay pots, wooden boxes, breathable cloths, or small fermentation chambers, creating environments where the dip can function as it did for centuries. Why temperature and humidity had to be carefully managed. Fungi thrive only under precise conditions. Excess moisture could lead to unwanted molds or bacterial growth, while too little moisture would halt preservation entirely. Ancient preservers mastered microclimates, storing foods in cool cellars, underground pits, or shaded rooms with stable, moderate humidity. For modern application, slightly humid, cool, and shaded areas, paired with controlled containers, can emulate these historical microclimates. Even simple adaptations, like damp cloth wrappings or partially buried containers, make the fungal dip technique more effective. How modern science validates ancient fungal preservation. Microbiologists have confirmed what ancient cultures discovered through careful observation. Certain fungi produce antimicrobial compounds that actively inhibit pathogens such as Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli. These natural defenses explain why foods treated with fungal dips could remain safe for extended periods without refrigeration. Today, this knowledge allows survivalists, off-grid households, and food enthusiasts to safely apply fungal preservation methods, reducing reliance on electricity or synthetic preservatives. How to safely replicate the fungal dip today. Modern enthusiasts can experiment with small batches of cheese, cured meats, or fermented vegetables using safe, well-documented fungal cultures. Key steps include maintaining clean surfaces, controlling humidity, and monitoring temperature to ensure the fungus forms a protective coating rather than harmful molds. Off-grid households and survivalists can, extend the shelf life of perishable foods while also enhancing flavor and nutrition. Step-by-step fermentation guides and historical recipes. Well, they make this technique accessible for beginners and experienced preservers alike. Why studying the ancient fungal dip is relevant today. This forgotten preservation method, honestly, demonstrates the ingenuity and observation skills of our ancestors. It reminds us that sustainable, low-energy food storage is totally possible when we work with natural processes rather than against them. For historians, survivalists, and sustainable living enthusiasts, mastering the fungal dip connects us to centuries of human ingenuity while offering practical, modern applications for preserving food safely and effectively. If you want to uncover more forgotten survival techniques, explore practical historical knowledge, and learn methods that kept humans fed for centuries without refrigeration, subscribe to Thermal Vault, share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, and start applying the ancient wisdom that allowed civilizations to preserve food safely for generations.